How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Respect and Pray Show with your host, Miguel Mike Medina, Triple M. In this episode, I have a guest that he's a podcaster just like myself. It was a privilege to be a guest on his show about a year and a half ago or something like that. And we had an amazing time. And when I started looking for a guest, I just had to bring him on. I like his energy. I like his positivity. Like I said, he's a podcaster. He's a passionate Baltimore Orioles fan. So stay tuned for this interview. Get to know more about this man and hope you enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to present to you Mr. Shawn Murphy. Shawn, thank you for joining me today, man.
What's up, brother? How you been?
I've been good, man. Can't complain. Summertime is here. It's time to enjoy. But I got to start from the top. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in East Baltimore.
Nice. So what made you decide to start podcasting?
So my story is I had a friend that was a podcaster. He'd been doing it he actually got into it because he saw Kevin Smith, the director, get into podcasting, and he saw him. I think he was doing like Fat Man on Batman or something like that. And he got into it. And then I met him and did a few shows with him. It was always pop culture, comic book, stuff like that. And my wife was always like, oh, you should do your own. You should do your own. You got a good story. You're good at talking to people. And it was always one of those kick the can down the road type things. And Father's Day in 2020, my wife presented me with my first kit, my first podcasting gear. And now we're 188 episodes deep into it.
Congratulations, man. Wow. 3 years and counting, and you're doing great. I was fortunate to be one of your guests on your show, so I thank you for that. So, but I can't wait to see this podcast go on for years and years. You should keep it as a long haul, man.
That's the goal. We're getting ready. We are going to be starting kind of an offshoot show that we're going to do on Saturdays. Don't know how many Saturdays we're going to do it, and it's going to be called the Above the Bar Podcast presents After the Lights Go Out, and it's going to be with professional athletes. This is right up your alley, brother. Professional athletes, not necessarily what I'd love to talk to a Tom Brady or a somebody of that top tier level, but people who have spent their whole lives working on a craft, working on a sport, and what has life been like after it's done, when you're not playing anymore and no one cares that table at the best restaurant in town isn't available to you anymore.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I have this question. Who are some of your major influences from podcasting standpoint and also off podcasting?
So podcasting would be my buddy Herb. We called him the Podfather. He doesn't podcast anymore. He actually just this year, after some health issues, he hadn't podcasted for a while. And he was probably, from a podcasting standpoint, my first big influence to see how it should be done and be able to pick up the phone and contact someone. Off podcasting, gosh, that's several shows in and of itself. Just depends upon what moment in my life we're talking about. My mother has always been a big influence. She's, raised me by herself for a long time. My father was always an influence once I was an adult. The way, we interacted with each other is different. My wife's a big influence. She is my biggest cheerleader and I hers. So there's a lot, man. That's a tough question. That's one of those, like, when they get up to receive their award and they're trying to name everybody because they don't want to miss anyone. It just really depends upon what the factor is.
So you're a lifelong Baltimore Orioles fan.
Absolutely.
They are playing. There we go.
Ravens right there. My O's coffee cup is upstairs.
They've been playing phenomenal this season. We saw how shocking it was last year when they were performing, but this year they took it to a whole nother level, and they have so many good top prospects. What are your thoughts on the Baltimore Orioles this season and their young talent that they have?
So last time I checked the standings was probably about maybe a week ago. And I think they were still number 2 in the East and number 2 overall I think they were still number 2 overall in the AL. And from a standpoint of what they're doing, we all, if you're a Baltimore fan like me, we weren't buying into the whole developing the farm league thing. There used to be a running joke. You may have heard it. There was a running joke that like all these other teams had these amazing scouts that were out there, and Baltimore had 2 players' moms in the Dominican Republic and one in Cuba that every so often talked about a neighborhood kid that might be able to play ball. Like that's how bad it was. It was so horrible, our farm system. I don't know where they changed it at. I wish I did, but we are seeing the results finally of a good farm. To me, it feels like O's of the 90s when you had Chris Hoyles and Brady Anderson, Mike Mussina. You had all Mike Devereaux. You had all these guys that could play together, and they were a younger crowd. Do I think that they could put a pennant on it this year? Maybe. I don't want to be that guy, but what I will tell you is based on how they're playing this year and the development of players, this is a team that in 2 years, we're going to be talking about a conversation with real potential of putting a ring on it. And what really develops out of this, in my opinion, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Miguel, is it's not just the fact that their farm league is developing. Players with real talent, when they see a team that's managed well and they see a team that is progressing well, their people will start to reach out and say, hey, we want to know, how do we get our player on this team? How do we get involved in this system? Which just does nothing but brings it up. Look at the Yankees, look at Boston, look at the Dodgers, look at those systems. They're ran very well and people want to go play there.
But I like what Baltimore is doing. They're developing these guys well, a lot of good prospects. There's something about Grayson. I'm forgetting his last name, Rodriguez, I believe. I just have a good feeling about him, about being a good pitcher in the future for the Orioles. I like what Henderson is doing. Santander, who's one of my favorites. Oh, the Orioles, I respect his game. Cedric Mullins, we know what he's capable of. But also, the Orioles, they're on the rise.
Hold on. Don't forget Andy
Rutschman, yep. He's another one.
However you pronounce that name. But, I mean, bro, they're – and I don't think any one of them's even old enough to go to the bar and drink yet. They're all babies. Like, they're all babies. Not a single one of them is old enough, I think. But, man, I love my O's. Like, I have suffered through some bad seasons. Like, when you hold the record for the worst team, like the worst season in MLB history, I think they actually ended up beating their own record for it. Like, that's sad.
Unbelievable. But as a fan, what are some of your favorite moments or memories, whether is at the ballpark or something that you've seen on live TV?
So that's easy. That is probably the easiest question I've ever been asked. So we all know 2131. That was the number that Cal beat, to become the true Iron Man of baseball. So my dad and I were at a game. We were, and I actually still have this. We're at a game. It's the O's and the Yankees. The things that I never will forget about it is my dad was a wild man for the O's. Some lady, we get a lot of Yankee fans that will show up at Camden Yard because of how close we are. And I think there's a lot of just have moved down into Baltimore. Some ladies just a hooting and a hollering because the Yankees were doing all right during the game. And my dad, he had big hands, and my dad would clap like this. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the mics. That big popping clap. So this woman's hooting and hollering. All of a sudden, the O's are doing better. And they end up winning the game. The whole time, my dad's leaning over at her, clapping right. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to have to fight somebody because my dad. So he does this. Well, I was in the Marine Corps at the time. So I left that weekend, went back down to Camp Lejeune, get a call from my dad. Where's your ticket stub at? I don't know, Dad. It's around here somewhere. Cal didn't play today. So we were at the last game of the streak. No one knew it. So that is my O's memory. So I couldn't find my ticket stuff. My father passed away in 2017, and I got a bunch of his stuff. His ticket stub was in there.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And but I'm glad you got to experience that with your dad. That's a memory of a lifetime. Favorite breakfast meal?
Gravy and biscuits.
Favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Green bean casserole.
Top 3 favorite travel destination?
The Cape, Ibiza, Spain, and the Outer Banks.
This one is easy. Home derby or all-star game?
Oh, that's not easy.
Really?
Yeah, because you know what? The Derby's so much fun to watch. And I think they've done such a better job with it over the years where you see these guys out there with their kids now. And it's way more of a family event than it used to be. You know, I used to love watching Eddie Murray get up there for the Derby or something. But I'm going to say the All-Star game itself, though. I think the game itself is more interesting to me.
Interesting answer. Interesting. Cal Ripken Jr. or Eddie Murray in their prime?
God, ask me to pick my favorite child. That would have been way easier. Bro, I don't know. I mean, I can remember Cal coming out in 83, but I'm going to say Eddie, and here's why. I still love Cal, take nothing away from Cal. But I think Eddie Murray in his prime, the 500 grand slams, or whatever it is, or 500 home runs and the grand slams, whatever the number is. That dude used to come to base and we would all scream, Eddie, Eddie. Like that dude he was something else. So I'm going to go with Eddie Murray.
All right. And last but not least, make your own homemade food or go to your favorite restaurant?
I'm probably cooking. I mean, you've seen my posts, and I'll throw down.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm more of a homemade person, so I'm with you on that one. Final question for this interview. Where can we follow you and your work?
So everything for us is the Above the Bar podcast, whether that be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Even our email is the Above the Bar podcast at gmail.com. Show goes live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you have the ability to go in there and interact with our guests, ask questions of our guests, the whole 9 yards. Like I said, you know, you can even, I should go, wait a sec, here, let's figure it out. Because Miguel, you should probably be mad at me because I can't remember. It's been over a year now, hasn't it, since you were on?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been over a year. So
let's see if we can let's figure out what when Miguel was on, and then we can say you should all go back and watch that episode. If I can find my own, I can't even find my own podcast. Isn't that horrible? I can't even find my own podcast on here. It's been, what is going on here? There it goes. Because you know what it is? It's been a week, and I follow so many other people's shows that, you know, when you end up following other people's shows, it's like, man, but I can't find it. My system isn't going to want to play with me, but go find Miguel's episode. And we had a great conversation about, you know, his Hollywoodism, all his celebrity style, writing, everything, acting, the whole 9 yards. Go find that episode. Watch that one.
If anything, I'll put all that information on the description so then people could hit the link and follow all your other social media platforms. And speaking of shows, I definitely got to have you on my baseball podcast show, which is on Spotify. So when the time is right, I'll have you as a special guest so we can talk some baseball more there. But Shawn, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me. Much respect and praise to everything that you're doing. And I hope that your podcast continues and grows years to come. So I'm looking forward to the future.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
I hope you guys enjoy the interview. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit a like button as well. And you guys know the message. You guys know my motto. Have mutual respect, mutual love, and mutual admiration. So stay tuned for the next episode.